You ever feel like that? You're working your tail off, but your bank account just isn't growing? Well, what we're digging into today suggests the problem might not be your paycheck, it could be what's in your shopping cart. We're going to break down 7 specific purchases that can keep you stuck, and, more importantly, we're going to talk about the one mental shift that can get you unstuck.
So, let me just ask you straight up. Could your everyday purchases be keeping you poor? I'm talking about the stuff you buy without even thinking about it. Is it possible that's what's secretly wrecking your financial future? That idea right there, that's the core of what we're talking about. So, it really boils down to 2 ways of thinking. On one hand, you've got poor thinking. It's pretty simple. Hey, I have money today, so I'm going to spend it today. But then there's wealthy thinking, which is all about playing the long game. It's like, okay, I have this money today. How can I make it work for me tomorrow? Honestly, just getting that one little shift in your head can change everything. All right, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the big one, what the source material we're looking at calls the #1 absolute biggest wealth killer out there. Okay, picture this. You've landed a good job, you're finally making some decent money, and you think, you know what? I've earned this. So you go to the dealership, you smell that new car smell, and you sign on the dotted line for a shiny, new $35,000 car. Man, it feels amazing, right? Like you've finally arrived. But the thing is, the real cost of that car kicks in the second they hand you those keys. And here's the painful part. The second your tires hit the street, that car loses about 20% of its value. Poof. Just like that, $7,000 gone. You haven't even made the first payment yet, and you're already thousands of dollars underwater.
So what's the smart move here? The wealthy thinking approach? It's super simple. Let somebody else pay for that huge drop in value. You buy a car that's maybe 2, 3, 4 years old, it's still a great car, still super reliable, but you completely dodge that first massive financial hit.
But here's the crazy part. That 15, maybe 20 grand you save by buying used, if you take that money and invest it, over 30 years, it could grow to over $260,000. Think about that. This isn't really a choice between a new car and a used car. It's a choice between that new car smell today and a huge pile of cash for your future.
Okay, so the next group of traps 2, 3, and 4, they're a little different. They all tap into this really powerful human desire, the dream of hitting it big, of getting rich quick. But as you're about to see, that dream, it comes at a really, really high price.
Yeah, we're talking about things like lottery tickets and scratch-offs. We're talking about payday loans. And we're talking about rent-to-own furniture and electronics. On the surface, they all look like a quick fix for a money problem, but the reality is a whole different story.
You know, there's this quote that really hits hard. The lottery is a tax on people who can't do math. It sounds harsh, right? But think about it. The odds are just so impossible. It's not really a game, it's a business that runs on hope. And every single dollar you put into that is a dollar you could have put towards building a future that's actually guaranteed.
Okay, but what if you're in a real jam and you need cash right now? A payday loan can feel like the only option. But look at this number, 390%. That's the typical APR. It's a shocking number, but what does that even mean in real life?
So, APR stands for annual percentage rate. It's basically the true cost of borrowing money for a whole year. Now, these loans are supposed to be paid back in like 2 weeks, but the reality is most people can't. They get stuck, they have to roll the loan over and over, and suddenly they're paying more in fees than the amount they even borrowed in the first place. It is a brutal, vicious cycle. And then there's the rent-to-own trap. Let's just look at the numbers. You need a sofa. The store says, hey, no problem, low monthly payments. Sounds good, right? But you miss the fine print. That sofa, which actually costs $1,200, by the time you're done paying, you've shelled out almost $5,000 for it. You're paying an extra $4 grand just for the privilege of paying over time. All right, let's move on. The next few traps are way more sneaky. They're not these huge, obvious decisions. They're the little, everyday things where we end up paying what I like to call a convenience tax, basically paying a lot extra just because something is easy. I'm talking about things like the extended warranty they always try to sell you at the checkout, or having every single premium cable channel and streaming services known to man. And of course, those daily runs to the gas station for a coffee or a soda. None of them seem like a big deal on their own, but man, do they add up and just bleed you dry.
Here's the smarter way to handle those warranties. Become your own insurance company. Just self-insure. Take that monthly fee you would have paid and stick it in a separate savings account. Now, you're in control. If your TV breaks, hey, you've got the cash sitting there to fix or replace it. And if it doesn't break, well, guess what? You still have the cash.
And what about entertainment? That $200 a month bill for all the streaming services and cable packages, it feels pretty normal these days. But let's look at the trade-off. If you invested that same $200 a month in just 10 years, it could be worth over $40,000. So you got to ask yourself, is any show really worth 40 grand?
And this right here, this is the convenience tax, plain and simple. Just look at the difference. A coffee that costs a quarter to make it home is $5 at the cafe. A Coke from the grocery store is 60 cents. From the gas station, it's $2.50. You're paying 4, 5, sometimes 10 times more for the exact same thing just because it's easy and it's right there. Do that every day, and we're talking about thousands of dollars a year just gone.
So, when you look at all 7 of these things, the new car, the lottery, the rent-to-own sofa, what's the one thing they all have in common? It's that they force you to ask a different question about what something really costs. And what it all boils down to is a simple psychological trigger: instant gratification. That feeling of, I want it and I want it now. It's that need to feel good in the moment, without really stopping to think about what it's going to cost you down the road. That feeling, that's the engine that powers every single one of these traps.
So if you take away only one thing from this, let it be this. The next time you're about to buy something, I want you to stop. And instead of asking, can I afford this today, or can I make the monthly payment, ask a totally different question. Ask yourself, what is this purchase really costing my future? Okay, so knowing all this stuff is one thing, but actually doing something about it is another. So let's talk about a super simple, step-by-step plan you can use to actually start making a change, like today.
It's just 4 steps, okay? First, you got to identify. Just be real with yourself. Which of these 7 things are you guilty of? Second, calculate. Actually go through your bank statements and figure out how much you're spending on it in a year. The number might shock you. Third, eliminate. And look, don't try to change everything overnight. Just pick one thing to start with and cut it. And finally, and this is the most important part, automate. The second you cut that expense, set up an automatic transfer to move that money into a savings or investment account. Get it out of your hands before you're tempted to spend it.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Every single dollar in your pocket is a choice. It's a vote for the future you want. And this isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself of fun. It's about taking control. It's about empowering yourself to build the life you actually want. So, the only question left is, what are you going to choose?